All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Locker Room Sports Special Edition. A little bit of extra news, things we got going on here during the day. Thank you for coming by and hanging out with me for the day we had on last night, and we went through a lot of stuff and got some more videos dropping on later tonight. So I hope everybody's having a good day. It's been a beautiful day up here in the northeast part of Alabama. Some players will stay, and some players are going to go, but Alabama is still that standard of college football. No matter who the people are or what they want to say or what they try to do, we can have all kind of different takes and have different opinions. But it has been proven that for the last 24 hours has just shown that case to show even more why that Alabama is still the standard. So, what's other teams around the nation got going on in this transfer portal? People's all freaking out and worried about what they're doing and what other teams are doing over here. And why is our team the only one seem to be having all these guys run around and run out of the portal? So why is nobody talking about them? Those are things that we're going to talk about today. So first of all, let's get over here to some other schools here, and that's Coach Franklin there at Penn State, and he's making some good points. He being a head coach at Penn State and been a head football coach at a lot of universities around the way. He's decided to kind of step up and speak his mind to say exactly what we've been saying for a little while, that it's not necessarily the portal. We're not against none of that. We're just against the format of this whole thing. The format of this whole thing has just been it's a terrible idea, and how everything is laid out is all. Thank you. And how everything's all laid out has just been a total mess. Nobody's against kids trying to build value for themselves or whatever they have going on. That's not it at all. But when you put a portal in the middle of bowl season, I mean, what do you think is going to happen? How do you think all this is going to, how's all this going to wind up? You put it in kids in a bad situation. They're not kids. I got to stop saying that. These are men. They're 18. They've been, if you're old enough to go to the draft and fight for this country, then you're obviously a man or a woman at that age. We're talking about football. We're talking about men here. And, so, as people's trying to figure that out and make their way along the way, it's not necessarily of the whole idea of it, but just the time that they're making this happen, just like the kid from his quarterback. I mean, he was the main one to come out and speak about this yesterday. You put kids in a situation, I just did it again. You put young men in a situation to where they're having to leave now. They're not going to be able to leave again until March. And if they know they're not going to play and these kids want to play, that's the idea of playing football. You want to play. Now, with Drew Aller coming back to Penn State, using him as an example, it's probably he's probably not going to play. Okay, let's just be honest. He's not. So if he feels like he can take his abilities elsewhere and make something better happen, then, more power to him. But these timing of this portal is terrible. It's just terrible. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. And it seems nearly like they've done it on purpose. Like they've nearly just done it like this guy took the NCAA to court, has made a big deal into. The video game started all this. For any of you that need any kind of, backlog to figure out when this started, God, man, it started, was it 2000? I mean, it's been a while. It's been a while that this kind of stuff's been going on, and the young men felt like, if you're making not just a little bit of money, but enough money that, I know my school's getting paid for me to go, but, I can't work a job. And I would like to have maybe a car or, have something else. And especially at smaller schools, I felt like that's what the portal was just intentionally made for for the guys of smaller schools, FCS schools even, that they could play a year or two, get some film. Everybody don't get a lucky break, man. Everybody's not. Pull up Trent Richardson's story. You talking about a story, and he was great. He set records when he played in Florida, but in high school. But he got a lucky break to see to get put in front of the right people at the right time. It's all in God's hands, really. I mean, it's just a matter of timing, and that thousands of young men that I have covered and seen and watched in high schools around here for the past 25 or 30 years. I've seen a lot of good players that I played with that I used to read letters on the wall, and he won't care if I tell the story. Jermaine Harris played at Cedar Bluff. His son plays over at Chattooga. His tailback's pretty good. Parker, his last name. I remember him having letters from Florida State and out Nebraska, and I'm just using him as an example because I know he wouldn't care. He had letters from all over, but it's just hard. It's hard to leave. It's hard to have money to go. We've got to change something about this. The dates have to change. Stop opening the portal in freaking bowl season like this. That's what's got to change. We got to fix that. So I had to get that out of the way up front. And what we come on here to talk about tonight, again, Jalen Mbakwe, five-star kid at Alabama, defensive back. Watched him play at Clay Chalkville for all the time he's played there. He's a special athlete. Watching interviews with him and seeing him in state games on AHSA Network and that type of stuff. Maybe I'm a good judge of character, I guess, but he seems just like a nice young guy. And him and Ryan have a podcast they do on YouTube, and it's pretty good. I watch it some. They interview some other players, and it's kind of like what we intended to do. It's just kind of set out into kind of highlight the other players, just kind of give them a space to talk. Just give other players a space to talk. And what's happened over the past 24 hours, everybody knows about what's going on. Yes, standard. Let me explain, Mr. Wells Fargo. I hope you can send me a couple of million if you can. I'll give you some information if you need to do that. Thank you for coming by. Let me explain. The reason I say this, that Alabama is still the standard of college football. No matter who or how people want to try and discredit the university, the last 24 hours have shown why. Guys, there has been more podcast. There has been more radio shows and talk in the last 24 hours about Alabama with a kid transfer. One kid. Let me explain, Wells. Just hang on. Yeah, that's a dynasty. That's not standard. A standard is what's been set by precedent by other people of how they see the university. One. Two, a standard that was set by coaches that all coaches said at their school. And I don't know who your favorite school is, but that'd be a dynasty. And Bama's had dynasty runs over 3 different eras. What I'm saying is this proves that, and I'm not really I'm going to tell you about value. There's going to be a video come out here in about an hour that I explain value and how that's affected college football. And the script on the front of their jersey that's got the scripted A on it, they don't play for that. They play for that name on the back of their jersey. Their self. That's just kind of the way it is. Now, every transfer situation is not the same. Some have medical problems. Some have family things that go on. They have to move around. But to say that, it just proves it. It proves that they're the standard because of this, Wells. Why is everybody talking about Alabama? Why are they brought up? One guy from Clay Chalkville, one young man Jalen Mbakwe, shuts down the internet. If that young man is playing at Ole Miss, Oregon, A&M, or Texas, the other top 5 schools that all have 20 or 30 kids in the portal, nobody's talking about any of their kids. Nobody's talking about the other ones that I've just mentioned that all have 5 stars in the portal leaving their university. They picked Bama to talk about because it proves why, Wells. It proves why they are. Because they're the only ones that people are talking about. They're talking about one young man. And you got these teams here. Let's start and go down the list. Ole Miss has 26. Oregon, 14. Alabama, 15. A&M says 28. And this was updated about lunch today. Texas, 13. Florida, 16. Florida State, 17. Colorado, 43. Ohio State, 7. Miami, 15. Washington, 28. Michigan State, 25. Georgia has 12. Georgia has 3 less players in the portal than Alabama, but we still have guys blowing up the YouTube channel talking about Jalen Mbakwe because a new tool has been made. And I'm just going out on a limb and using my opinion. And Wells, you may agree or disagree, and that's fine. And I'd like your feedback. I mean, honestly, what do you think? Yes, as we explained, 4 years straight, no national championship. That's nothing to do with standard. Now, because they're the only one that people are talking about, when I just named off all these other teams that have 20, 30 kids in the transfer portal, it proves that they are. Why are they the only school that everybody's talking about? What has Jalen Mbakwe done that nobody else has done? Well, here's my opinion. And if you looked at the thumbnail, you could see about lights, camera, bingo, I got action. And in the corner there, you can mysteriously see kind of the lonely little part of a face of Day-Day. He's a character in Next Friday, with Craig being played by Ice Cube in the back over there. And they're in their little top flight security box in the parking lot. And these 3 older ladies are singing Christmas hymns out in front of Pinky's store over there. Okay. In front of Micro Mini Pimp store. I'm sorry. And Mike Epps leans out the door and says, bingo, I got action. And Mike Epps runs over there to the corner and says, I don't care what y'all are singing. You got to get up off my corner and blowing the whistle. And it's hilarious. It's funny. And he's telling them why, because I'm top flight security. It seems to me that I may be looking way too much into this, and I do that a lot. I'm a history major by trade, so I study and I read things and I analyze things. I may be overanalyze things. That either one, Mbakwe was just looking to change maybe some position because of situations that Alabama has run into. We're losing Malachi. Okay. So Sab will be back. You kind of feel like he'll probably take that role. Hubbard has come in and played very well, done a really good job. The young white guy there that plays some D-back also. Zay Mincy, Red Morgan, and those guys have done a good job. And I think either Mbakwe wants to enhance his value, and to do that, you need to play more. And with them losing Kendrick Law, Kobe Prentice, and Henderson, and Henderson didn't play, I don't know, very much at all. And Odom, he's going to Colorado to play with Juju. I get it. I dig it. So maybe he's wanting to play both ways. Maybe he's wanting to play a little receiver in these bowl games coming up. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Or, as the thumbnail has stated, lights, camera, action, these 2 guys, and I just don't doubt it. I have a 21-year-old son myself, and when he was young, man, I remember him coming home and on the laptop, like saving some part of the schoolwork, and he knew how to save it onto his favorites. He was like 6 or 5. I'm like, how does he know? Because he knew. These kids, man, were raised with phones in their hands constantly. They got a podcast. If you watch it, they're not just being silly. They do some because they're young guys. They're just having fun. But they really know what they're doing. They're crazy like a fox. They have set this up, this whole situation, to create value for themselves and their brand, which is their podcast. Because now, do you know how many people are going to be interested in to see? Go on their Instagram and look at the emojis that they've put up on their Instagram. And I'm not dogging them. I think it's great. It's kind of funny. Some people probably don't get that kind of humor, and that's okay. We're all not the same. But this internet world wide web that we live in has brought us all together. And the problem is people think that they're all supposed to get along like you do with your neighbor. And then you get online with somebody like Wells Fargo said, no, it don't matter. Alabama's not the standard. People talk about things that's irrelevant for money. And that ain't wrong neither. But I don't know this guy. But I don't have to disagree with his opinion. But this internet has brought us all together, and we don't have to agree. You just say, hey, I can understand your point. And what he did say, that people do talk about irrelevant crap for money. That ain't wrong. But it's bringing people together to see something. And these two guys, Ryan Williams and Jalen Mbakwa, their podcast, The New Wave, there's going to be a lot of people interested in them. Now, I would say that in that first part of sentence, if we'll talk about this for a little bit here, Mr. Wells, Mr. Richman, Fargo, that are, let's see, Alabama is not the standard. Okay, that's an opinion. And people talk about things that are relevant for money. Yes. And what they were doing is relevant because it's what's going on. But my point is, why only them? When I just went through a list, let's see here, Georgia, 11, they have 12 guys out in the portal. South Carolina, 22 guys out. I ain't heard a word. Have you heard anything about Kentucky with 13 guys out in the portal? Have you heard anything about Auburn with 16 commits out in the portal? How about a team that's in the playoffs? 31 commits. 2 stars, a bunch of 3 stars, 2 4 stars, and a bunch of 3s. Tennessee has 10. SMU, this great beloved team that everybody wants to blow up in the playoffs like they're God or something because they're great, because they got drowned by Clemson, which lost to who? Georgia and South Carolina. They couldn't even beat an SEC team. 21. I'm just talking about playoff teams. 10, 21. We don't have to say Baylor, 16. Okay, they're trying to build something. Notre Dame's got 10. LSU's got 10. I ain't heard nothing about SMU's transfer portal. That's news. All this is news. It could be news for anybody. So why do we not talk about the 2 4 stars that Ohio State's got jumping out, and the 3 stars and 3 4 stars that they have jumping out? What about the 13 that Texas has? Why is nobody said a word? You turn on old YouTube and you go to your favorite podcast show, and there's several of them that I like. They're talking about Mbakwa in the past 24 hours. Why? What's so important about Jalen Mbakwa in Alabama? Because they are the mark. They have dominated the college football world for so long. And then Nick Saban did such a great job with guiding these young men in a direction, hiring some of the best coaching staff, people that probably money could buy, for sure. That is my point. That's why they must be. I just look, there's going to be a video come out later that I did yesterday that I got posted to come out tonight. And there may be, some Alabama fans get their feelings hurt tonight. If you watch this, value just shows a vault in the corner of the picture. It shows part of a football field. What's your value? How do you create value? Well, to say that Bama is the standard, then I don't there's not a standard can be anybody. Mark, good to see you on here, Barrington. Mark is a big Florida fan. He's a young man, a little bit older than my son. I've known him for a long time. He's out here at the high school. Good football player. Okay, true freshman edge rusher Auburn just got this news breaking. Thank you, Stephen. Amari Williams will be staying at Auburn. Thank you, Stephen. Okay. That's the whole point from that. And Mark said the other day that there's a standard for Florida. And I said, well, I mean, they've been in a bad spot for a while, but they still should have a standard. They'd like to win, 9 or you need to win 10 games to get in the playoffs. Okay. And that's what everybody's striving to do, to try to make the playoffs. That's the whole idea. So Wells, I'll disagree. We'll agree to disagree on some of the statement. Let me read on here. And I love reading the comments. I mean, we don't have to agree, bro. People love, because we'll probably agree. Honestly, I'm a pretty agreeable person. People love their fall from grace. You are correct. You're projecting to say that they are the standard because people are talking about a transfer. Yes. Believe me, nobody wants to be like Alabama. The standard and having a high standard isn't the same. Believe me, nobody wants to be like Alabama. Okay. I mean, you can think that, and I probably 99 out of 100 people would disagree. Why wouldn't you want to, have won 6 national championships, like in the last 10 years? I'm sure your school, your college that you went to, that you would like for them to be. I wish Jacksonville State. They did win their conference. They're going to a great bowl game. I think they landed today. And I'm excited about seeing my alma mater, the Jacksonville State Gamecocks, play and win their bowl game. And I'll be watching and cheering for them. And we do go down and watch them play sometimes. So, yeah, but still, there's still a standard in football. Obviously, Alabama holds a pretty high one because every time you turn on the YouTube right there, all I've heard is Mbakwe, Mbakwe, Mbakwe. Now, if you say that that's not true, then you're just mistaken and you're just trying to troll and just trying to pick, and I ain't into that kind of stupid shit. So they have to be. I don't really think I don't know how they could be. I mean, when the guy that created the standard at that university is not there, his standard's gone. He's not there. Now, Coach DeBoer can bring a new standard of his own to say, hey, we want to strive to excellence and go out and perform and play fast and play like, exciting football and carry ourselves in a professional way. That, maybe that's his standard, because every coach needs to have their own mission statement. And Coach DeBoer is going to have his, the same as Coach Napier, Mark's team, Gators, have theirs. Hey, look, now, the Pac-12 standard. Well, we can make fun of the Pac-12, but let's just be honest. Dude, they had some good football teams the past few years. I think that Washington, Coach DeBoer, and them play for a title. And I think that these other teams that dumped out of the Pac-12, what's up, Zach? I think some of these other teams that played in the Pac-12 conference of last year, which is going to be, they're going to put some of it back together. But politics weren't all that. They want to go out there and play games with people, and they run through universities. Arizona State, Oregon. I mean, these cats are, like winning their conference and moving on to other conferences and winning it. We can say what we want and laugh and joke about the Pac-12, and honestly, top football players, if you want to look at, well, go look at Bama's or Georgia's, go look at their roster of kids. Bama's got several guys coming from California, a top linebacker, a top corner. Bryce Young played out there at Mater D. There's these kids at Mater D. These teams are ranked in the nation, those high school teams. So, yeah, we can make fun of them. That's fun. So, Okay, he said that that's exactly what I said, that we was typing the same point. Yeah. Mark says everybody likes watching Bama fall off the map, sure. And that's fair. That's fair. Everybody is going to have their eyes on Bama to see how they are without Saban. Yep. I agree with that statement. That way, everyone has their eyes on Bama that's trying to see how they will do without him. Yep. Very true. All the conferences that they went to all that they went to other than Oregon was weak. The Big 12, ACC are not really good. I think the Big 12 is better than ACC. I don't know. It's a toss up. I mean, your conference champs, at least the Big 12 did put out a quality record of, of a final ranking of a conference champ. My God, man, Clemson won the ACC. They're 17th. Now if you want to talk about playoff bracket stuff, should we just take the top 12? Just rank 12 and just play them. Just rank them and do it like we've always kind of done it with the BCS and number one place too. Just take the top 12, take the top 4. All right, you get off a week, and the other 8 just play. Just put them in the bowls and let them play. And then those that come out of that, they'll play the other to get back in and play the top 4. I don't know. I mean, I've heard worse ideas. A big problem is Clemson. How do they win their conference? I know they said, and that's the thing, is the format. That's the real problem with it. The real problem with it is the format of it, of what are you supposed to do? How is this all supposed to lay out? You win your conference, you're in. Okay. Well, this year's a good example. What about Clemson? You want to go back and look at their schedule? Does anybody here, these people watching, we've got a lot of people watching right now. Does anybody in here, and some people won't comment, y'all comment. You can just say, no, you're stupid. Yes, me and Wells Fargo don't agree on everything, but we can still have a conversation, bro, because we're men. Just what men can do. You can talk about stuff, not agree on everything. You don't think Alabama's nobody wants to be like them. I think a lot of programs will probably like to be like Alabama. And you get talked about all the time. And like Mark said too, it's knowing that you want to see them fail. But anyway, to the playoff, just play the top 12 teams. And see, Clemson would have been left out. At some point, if you watch Crane & Company, I watch Jake and Blaine and Dave and them. They've come out with their own little formula, which is pretty cool. To have it by thirds, about strength of schedule, strength of record, and, maybe did they say an eye test, like literally watching the games? Is that something like that? I mean, at least you can have, there has to be value of winning. And Bama's not going to get any sympathy from nobody. Some of the reason they got in probably, last year was just probably because Saban was there. Because they knew that Nick would get them old boys ready. They knew it. And they were ready. And you go to overtime with national champions with that team that, golly, they were so up and down last year. I don't know how they won the games they did. But now he's gone, and nobody's looking to go, well, put Bama, well, DeBoer's there now. Look what happened when they traveled to Vanderbilt. They scored plenty of points, but man, they give up too much. They wasn't ready. The coaches looked unprepared, and the players said, they run plays we'd never seen on film. Well, that's what they're supposed to do. They're trying to beat Alabama. And that's another thing you could say. Why is Alabama? Why do you say that they're the standard? Why? All the teams want to beat them. When people stop storming the field when they beat Alabama, then you're not the standard anymore, bro. When people storm the field after they beat you, you're the standard of football. That's just the truth. Now, you can take it, swallow it, throw it out the window, put it in your pocket. I don't care. But that's still facts. So how are we supposed to go forward with a team like Clemson that has a trashy schedule and that gets drugged by Georgia and South Carolina? South Carolina beat them bad. And then Bama beat South Carolina, and then people want to put South Carolina in. You got to have a head-to-head has to count somewhere. And wins have to matter. Yes, losses do too. And I'm not up here pounding the thing for Alabama to get in. You should have showed up, beat Oklahoma. Defense played good. Offense give the ball away and let the defense score. Because Oklahoma offense couldn't score. I mean, they had a touchdown? That's it. If you can hold them to, 10? I think that you should better win a football game if you hold a team to 10. But the offense didn't get it done because they looked asleep. They looked like they was not ready. And who's that on? That's on the coach. Now, these are men out there playing the game too. Some responsibility has to go to them. Absolutely. So they're out. Forget it. We got to quit talking about it. Just move on. They didn't make it. What to do? Come back next year. Try it again. Go get better. Do you want some fuel to go? That's why I used to tell my kids that I coached. See the scoreboard up there? Coach, why are you smiling? We lost 8-9 because you played great. Sometimes you lose and you play great. Now, do you want to come back and win this thing? We're going to play them again in about 2 weeks. Talking about baseball. When I ask, guys, stop goofing off. Let's get serious for just a few minutes and try to get in a few good swings. Or let's try to keep our gloves on the ground, make sure we're making those good tosses to second. When I say that and I get this, come on, coach. I don't want to hear that. Either you want to get better or you don't. So that's fuel for them to go get better. Alabama, scratch it off. You're done. Go play Michigan in the Gator Bowl or Outback Bowl down there at Tampa Bay. That's fine. Enjoy your trip and have a good time. It's not meaningless. You get to go to a bowl game. This Sabanism crap where if you don't win a national championship or you don't go to get in the playoffs, it's a failed season. It's horse crap. That's terrible. Bro, if your school is going to a bowl game, celebrate. Enjoy. The kids should enjoy that. The young men, their families. A lot of these players have kids. You're going to get to go on a trip with your kids and stuff. Just enjoy that. But this idea with this SMU, Indiana, SMU is not really a problem. Maybe we take I said on the Sunday show last when Dean was on with me, and we'll be on Thursday. We'll talk about all the bowl games if you want to come back and hang out Thursday about this time. We'll go through the weekend and that stuff. And we ain't going to be on much longer now. What do you do here? All right. How about conference champions? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 5, 6, 7, 8 could be runner-ups. SMU, Penn State, Iowa State, Texas. There's 1 through 8. So that gives you 4 more spots for these other teams. And you could take a Notre Dame if you want to take them as an independent. If they've won, have a decent strength of schedule, put them in there. That gives you 3 more. We got 3 more spots. Surely you could come up after the conference champs and the runner-ups. Surely you could come up with 3 other teams after you put in Notre Dame. Put in the teams that are like third in the better conferences. Take a third-place team out of the SEC or the Big Ten or whatever, Big 12 or, ACC. I don't know. We could do that. What do y'all think? You and me both know that the 12-team playoff is a chance for the smaller schools to get there. Well, I know, but that's what they say. But I don't know how Clemson won. I would have liked to see Miami. Sure, Miami could be in there. Not only that, but I'd like to see Colorado. Well, yeah. What's up, Kevin? I have to agree with you. The last 7 SEC games could win any of the conferences besides SEC. Probably so. You're probably right. Yeah, I said that. Yeah. I mean, if Saban is still at Tuscaloosa, he had it here, man. Saban is this. Same as Bear Bryant. Bro, I got books over here y'all can't see. I've read books about these teams and football and stuff. These guys were here. Saban wasn't really a great player. Bear was a good player. He was tough and he's mean as shit, but he was tough. But he's always fair. But he got them ready. He knew things to say. Everyone who plays Alabama plays like it's the next. Thank you for saying something. This guy's a Florida fan. You don't think Florida wants to beat Alabama every freaking time they play them? Do you know the tradition, the history of Florida and Alabama? They started this whole thing. They're the one that started the conference title games. Steve Spurrier. Steve's great. I got a book on him over here. Read this book on Steve Spurrier. And tomorrow I do. Let me tell you a story about Steve Spurrier, Heisman winner, 66. They lost the game to Auburn, and he was terribly bothered by this. He threw a touchdown, run a touchdown, and kicked the extra points. That's just some Florida history there for you. Super athlete. Steve took his baseball team to state and took his basketball two times, and he took his high school basketball team to the semis, I think, and lost to the state champs. That's some Steve Spurrier history for you. Mark, would you rather have Barry Bryant or Nick Saban? I'd just rather you just got to have Kalen DeBoer. You just got to have DeBoer. That's what it is. He's there. He's the guy. It's just different, man. That's like asking. That's the question. We can get into basketball. Is who's better, Jordan or LeBron? It's two different times. It's just different. The game is totally different. Do you think Barry Bryant could show up? Just let Bear show up in Tuscaloosa tomorrow. Just if you could just have that weird thing and be Bill and Ted and get in the phone booth and bring Bear Bryant out on the field. I don't even know what would happen. If they could really believe it and say everybody could get in on it and understand that he's not a zombie or he's not some walking dead, the cops would arrest him for abuse. Half the team would probably quit. Some of the guys would probably leave crying. It's just not. He just can't. Yeah, it's just different. LeBron and Jordan's he's my guy. He's who I watched. And, my dad, being older, he always liked Larry Bird and Bob Cousy and some of those older guys. Wilt Chamberlain, he thinks he's the greatest. Wilt's the guy. Saban has the respect of every one of his players. True. They knew what was expected and they did what they had to do to make it. And had Kirby carried the same passion to Georgia, and his players have bought into him. The board just has to gain some respect. Yes. We'll talk about the board, and then we'll talk about Freeze. I think the way college football is going, honestly, I'm not being a Bama fan. We cover all those teams. You can go back on our YouTube channel. And if you're on there now, hit the thumbs up button, bro. Just if you're on Facebook, see a little blue thumb, just hit it about 4 or 5 times or hit the heart or something. See, it's just that easy. I'd really appreciate it. I really think that DeBoer's style of offense fits the new kind of football that we're seeing. He likes to spread things out a little bit. He's going to run the football to keep you honest. And his patterns, his post, I watched Washington play last year when he coached a lot of games, and I went back and watched some other games when I knew he was coming to study on him. Like I watched Liberty, and I watched Coach Freeze some more. Some of his games up there, went back, watched a few more of their games too. I study this stuff. I don't just come on here and I don't just turn it on and go, hey guys, what's going on? I don't just come in the house and I try to act like, I know what I'm doing. His routes are some confusing to defenses. And I know some of you are saying, well, Matt, they just didn't do that this year. This is their first year. The players couldn't learn it. They're not going to sit in and learn all. We're talking about they're changing they just took their book. Tommy Reese is running that. They had probably about 15 plays. They took those 15 plays that he ran and went, all right, let's start over. And poor Jalen Milrose had like freaking 20 goddamn offensive coordinators. He don't know the X from the Z. He don't even know. I mean, I don't know how he even got by. Had to be terribly confusing for Milroe this year. Terribly confusing. And he says personally on his personal page stuff, he deals with some like anxiety, a little bit of depression stuff, like probably a lot of us do. Just being men and you're carrying a lot of weight on you, family stuff, that he has too, that we don't know anything about. And you're the quarterback in Alabama. You carry that weight. But I really think DeBoer's offense, with how football's played now, it's going to be fine. It's going to fit. I've seen improvement from the defense from Coach Womack. The schemes became some better. Injuries are just part of it, and you can't make excuses of that. Like Deontay Lawson, man, him not playing the bowl game, and I mean, he went out. That, he didn't play the Iron Bowl. That hurts. I mean, he's the captain of the defense. He's the one to put calling play. So Campbell's had to roll in here and try to take on that job. So you got guys moving around. Overall, look, man, more than likely, Alabama is just going to be, they're always going to kind of be what they are because they've been around so long. Now, over time, some luster wear off. It has to at some point. But I always feel like they're going to be a 8 or 9 win team. I don't see them ever being a 5 or 6 win team. I just don't. I still think there's enough pride, a little bit of pride into knowing that you're playing for something that's a little bigger than you. Because the statements we're talking about, they don't play for the scripted A on their neck, on their jersey, or the Gators, that blue F they put on there. They're playing for their name on the back of their jersey. But that's not true for everybody. And as fans, and we'll go talk about Coach Freeze, as fans, we have to understand that we get angry when our team is losing players. But if you're going to lose some of the portal, you're going to get some. But if you're getting some, you're going to still lose some, man. It's just how it is. And 2, we don't know everybody's personal situation. Some of these kids come from nothing. And I mean, I know some of them, and some of y'all in the chat probably know some young men that are playing college ball, or some stories about some of these guys. If they get offered some money to go, what are you supposed to do, man? Your mom's on working 2 jobs. You got 3 brothers. She's the only income in the house. Besides maybe your grandmother or granddaddy comes by some and helps buy groceries once in a while. When you having to go sit down at the co-op and tell them you can't pay this month and you got to sign an extension. And the kids are with you and they see that. And they go to the grocery store and they want the good macaronis and they can't have them. They have to get the cheap box with the powder packs. These kids, a lot of kids grow up like that, and they don't want to live that way forever. They're thinking, I have a skill, and I want to be able to use it and go and take care of my siblings, my brothers and sisters, or mom and dad. Maybe the dad's dead. Maybe he's got cancer. Maybe your mom's sick. I think, was it Walter White at Auburn? His mom had cancer, and that's why he left, or was it him or Brown? One of them, that's why – people are like, well, he seems a little, flustered when he goes in and plays a little bit. His mom's got cancer. He's probably not locked in. So we got to remember those things too. So before we get on here and you stupid idiot kid, once you take your talent somewhere, you take and stick it up your, you leave my school. Do you think well, this roll tie you wear white, red and white, you go get F? No, dude. And when Mbakwa left, I was just confused. I just didn't understand why would a kid that he played a lot, he didn't start a lot of games, he has a lot of promise. He's from here. All the fans like him. I've watched him play. He's always been in Alabama, committed there, always never really faltered to go anywhere else. Like, really? Like, what? What? That is all these other guys that's in the portal that left. Some of them, like I said, was injured. Otis. One of them hurt his knee. Remember in pregame. So they didn't get back in the rotation. Kendrick Law, that's on the coaches. Didn't get used. Now, I don't know now. Some of his practice stuff, he may have got some trouble. I've heard a few things where he may not be easy to get along with. That may be a lie. See, we're up here talking about this young man. Don't even know. He may be the nicest kid in the world. That's just what you hear. Okay. Kobe Prentice, I loved him. Watched him in the A-Day. I thought he's going to be great. Jalen went throwing the ball. Now, and here's the last thing about them. We'll move on. With Jalen this year, it's either two things. Either, and I think it's this. He just couldn't grasp all the playbook right now. It was just too much. He just got it through all at him. You know, he went from a 15-play playbook to a 70-play playbook, and like different formations and different sets in like 10 formations, and you got 10 sets in those 10 formations. That's 100 plays. He's like, bro, what are you doing to me? Whoa. And he's a runner, so you got to use him with his legs. You got to be able to let him run around. I just think it was too much, and they try to cut the playbook down some, like they let him roll out. And when you do that kind of stuff with a quarterback, that's telling me that you're cutting the field in half, so you're only giving him a dump or a read up the side or maybe a back shoulder, some guy coming back, or because they played so good after bye weeks. Did you notice that? I told them, I said right here, I said, they're not beating Oklahoma. Matt, they ain't no way. They're terrible. I said, they won't be ready. Go back and watch. You could watch some of our shows. I ain't lying to you. What up, Big Kahuna? They wasn't ready. And I think it's that. Now, another reason could be, McCarron, I'm not going to argue with A.J. McCarron. The guy played football, throwed for 11,000 yards in college, won 2 national championships. Well, really 3, didn't start one of them, and he won't play in the NFL. And I think A.J.'s good. I think he's a good quarterback. He don't think that Melrose that good of a passer. So he's got a good deep ball, but he misses some of those intermediate ones, and we've seen that. You go look at his and Thorne's stats. They're real close. They're pretty close. I mean, besides Milroe run for a lot of more yards, and of course he did. I think these things think it was too much, and I think Bama just needs to move on. And I think that the fans just need to just zip a hole in it and just enjoy your freaking team playing Michigan in a bowl game. You get a rematch with Michigan. It's not the same teams. I know. There's a lot of different players. So, now with Coach Freeze, expectations with him next year, guys, Auburn's probably going to have, I said today on a post I shared earlier, if you follow us on the Facebook page, they may have the number 1 portal class in the nation. Now, being fair to the portal and other teams, they've brought in a lot of guys from some smaller teams, some are some kids that are maybe got looked over a little bit and could be great. We don't know. So you don't know about some of these kids when they come in the portal. You see, but when you get to a new system, you're a new school, new place, new area, you're not from there, and you're going to try to, become part of this new tribe with these young men here, and y'all just going to lock arms and just be ready. That's tough. They got a lot of 3-star guys that's come in. And what do we think about Coach Freeze? I think his play calling is I'm not a fan of him at all. So I try to be open and very neutral when I talk about him. I just don't like him. I didn't like him at all. I just don't care for him as a coach. I don't know. He just seemed like his personality just don't mix with me. Now these guys they got coming in, they're going to have a good portal class. They're going to finish with the 6th, 7th class. in the nation this year. And they hadn't had a number 7 class since 2020. And before that, they hadn't had a top 10 class in a while. So Auburn's been the cupboard, the barn, pun intended, has been dry. Gus didn't recruit hardly anybody for them. And Harsin did a terrible job at recruiting. That's why he's not there. Dude, look at the record. Harsin's record is better than Freeze's. Why have they not fired this guy? Did you watch the Iron Bowl? Before halftime, if Auburn scores there, they're still going to be down. But it felt like they would have had some momentum. He runs a trick play, that halfback pass, and what are you doing, man? Why did he call that play? Stop trying to be funky. Bro, just freaking run the ball. I mean, Quiz didn't have but 50 yards. They had like 90-something yards, but I don't do something. That's just a terrible – that the kind of stuff. That's why I don't like him. Why? What are you doing? You're not putting out the best thing for your team to have the best opportunity to win the game. Bama's better. He knew going in. Freeze ain't stupid. He puts on the film and watches them, and he's like, oh, God, bro, how are we going to do this quarterback? This guy's a freak. How are we going to contain him? I mean, Auburn's pretty good up front, but he's fast. You see him blowing by those guys. So Riddick, guy running off the mouth, talking about he's going to shut him down. He couldn't even catch him. What are we going, so he knew we're going to have to – they need to score every time they got the ball. Those kind of things worry me. Now, the quarterback play was not great, but also some of that has to go on the coach. And in watching film and games of Auburn this year, offensive linemen, when they run some of those trap plays, or they run some of those double runs or double goes, insides, when they pull a guard, say from the left, and they'll run it back to the right. It's like a backdoor buck play or something. Not an inside buck play. They'll go off forward and instead of running like a 5 on the other end. It works if it's blocked right. And I went back and watched film and watching these guards pull. And so many times, man, many times. Alabama's guilty of this too. Just not blocking the play up right. Receivers, and I seen Thorne doing this. Did y'all see him do this? He's like, look at me. Receivers talking to Cam some. He's like, what are you doing? Why are you running out? Go up the field. You got to be able to see the defense where he's going. He's trailing. If he's starting to trail in, if he turned his hips up he's turned his hips up the field. If he's not, if he's trailing back inside with you and you're running on that hash, go on up. I can throw it over. Make a big play. Or if he's already turned his hips and he's headed upfield, the corner, dude, cut it off right there. You can have these option routes. And I think Coach Freeze maybe give some of the players at the first part of their year, you could tell, maybe a little benefit of a doubt. Because Cam is a great player and he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. He's just got to learn the plays. They're going to figure it out. And now lastly, about them. With Jackson Arnold, when I first saw him going, honest opinion, straight out, just gut talk was he'd have won them 4 more games this year, maybe. At least 2 of them. I think Auburn wins 7 games this year if Jackson Arnold started at Auburn this year. I'm serious. Because they're close in some of these games. They don't turn over like the Missouri or something, Oklahoma game, they could win those. Arkansas, maybe 2. They're not beating. They're not out talented Georgia or Alabama right now. It's going to take time to catch up with teams that's been freaking recruiting number 1, 2 in the nation for the past 10 years. They got 3 deep dudes that are as good as some of their guys that are starting. That's just how it is right now. But with last year's class was okay. This year's class is going to be a good class. And we'll see how some of these portal guys, that little tailback from UConn, you got to give him a shot, man. I mean, you just have to. Alston's probably still going to be there starting tailback, right? Y'all think so? Now, I did hear Cobb yesterday from Auburn podcast people that he may be looking to hit the portal pretty soon. Jeremiah Cobb, I watched him play down here at Catholic. Let's go through here. Michael Penix fits better in DeBoer's offense. Sure, absolutely, I agree. You know what, Mark? And I don't as well as Fargo. Are you if he's still on here? Are you Are you Auburn or Georgia fan? I was just kind of curious. What is your opinion on this? Auburn, Alabama. If Milroe would have went to, if you just had a fun game, and we played a fun game a while ago, Bill and Ted's phone booth, where we talked about Bear Bryant showing up at practice at Alabama tomorrow, and he would have kids crying. They would quit. Some kids would quit. I'm too serious. There'd be some men out there crying. The coaches would cry. Dude, if you don't know a lot about Bear Bryant, man, most of us not old enough to. I mean, like me and Wayne, we're the old guys here. Kevin, read some books. Holy crap, man! This guy's, yeah. Just read. Just read Junction Boys. Mark, if you're looking for a book to read through the winter, bro, you love football. You're a football guy. Just pick up the Junction Boys copy on Amazon. It's probably $5. It's probably $2. You get a paperback probably for nearly nothing. Clint Decker, what's up? Clint's old enough. He can kind of tell you a little bit. We'll see if this DeBoer offense or the OC that went to the NFL. Yes, I know. But I was going to say, what if Milroe, Clint, what if Milroe and Thorne swapped? How would the seasons been different? You think Bama still wins 9 because of his style of offense and his decision making wasn't real good? I seen him throw some picks. I'm like, what does he do? He throw it right to him. Milroe at Auburn, bro, they win 8. If Arnold is there, Jackson, I almost called him Hank Arnold. What's up, Hank? I'm sure he's not watching. Clint knows who he is. I think Auburn would have been good if Milroe would have been there. But anyway, yes, here's the whole picture behind that. And some of you may already know this, and I may be spilling some old news. And if it is, just bear with me for 10 seconds. Grube is the offensive coordinator that Saban wanted before Reese. He tried to get him, and it didn't work out. So he wound up with Reese. And he got Reese, and he's thinking, well, that Chinese guy, the lacrosse player, came with him to kind of help elbow rub and help Milroe learn, kind of help tutor some of his offense to him for Reese, for Milroe. But Grube's the guy they wanted at Washington. So when I found out that DeBoer's coming, I told the wife automatically, I said, that's a good hire. He's got a good staff. That Morgan guy that kind of runs all the stuff for him, he's freaking smart, man. He's just the real heavy-set black guy, terribly smart. He gets it. He understands about marketing. I mean, he's helped this Yay Alabama club. That's where a lot of their NIL money is. It's where Mbakwe and Ryan do their podcast, which they're slick. If they pulled that off yesterday, and that was all just set up to get them some clout, they did it. They figured it out. Maybe they're crazy like a fox. Maybe that's not what he is. But Grube was the guy that I thought, man, this is going to be great. That offense, they can get in some recruits here. DeBoer seems like a super friendly guy. He can fit in here in the South. And you just got to go to people's houses, man. You got to go sit down. You got to eat dinner with Mama. You got to eat the chicken. You got to eat the apple pie. You got to eat the burgers and be nice and the barbecue pork chops and the greens and dance like Saban did. He's a personable guy. That's how recruiting's just all about relationships. It ain't about money. You can say all the money you want to go out there and pay some of these kids, but you're just hiring hired guns. You're just hiring kids to come in and play and be these outlaws, shoot them up, and they'll come in and play a year, and you may win 7, 8, 9 games. Maybe you win 9 or 10 and get in the playoff. But are you really building something? I mean, something you can stand on. You're not. That's not how you build a program. But this Grube, and they're out there recruiting, man, and they're getting stuff done. I seen a picture. They went to Elba. Shout out Alvin Henderson, state record rusher, has committed to Auburn. I see a picture of Grube and DeBoer and Alvin. That's the first one I saw, I think, of Coach Grube. And I was like, man, Milton's up over Langston Hughes 7-0, by the way, in Georgia State Championship game. Tomorrow is Grayson and Carrollton. That's going to be a throwdown. I'll definitely keep up with that. But Grube, his offense is great. I like how it played out. I think they could get the players here to do it. Who knows what may have come, but he didn't come. Something happened, man. And just like in the middle of nowhere, like on a Tuesday, you see him down at Elba taking pictures with Alvin. And then like Saturday, he's staying. They offer him a job at the Seahawks. And any guys in here that are married, y'all know if the wife is not, and we don't know how different people. I opened the show up with me and this Wells Fargo. We're kind of going back and forth debating some topic about Alabama still being the standard because that's what everybody talks about for 24 hours. Macumba's leaving. I mean, every radio, video, podcast, everybody. So I guess they still are. I don't know. I thought they wasn't. But it kind of proves that Groove was definitely the mind behind all of it. And poor Nick Sheridan, tight end coach, gets moved up to call plays. And maybe the board calls some of them. Maybe he helps. Maybe he overrides some. They're going to run this, and he'll, headset. No, we're doing this, because the players, have the earpieces and stuff. So, so Clint, that's a good question. Yeah, the movie's free on there, Mark. You can watch it on YouTube for free. So what is the future for Alabama? I think it'll be fine. Everybody's been freaking out today. Lights, camera, bingo. I got action. It was a scene from next Friday, and everybody's just talking about Macumba, Ryan Williams and him. If they set this up that way, it may not be. It may have been literally he just wanted to try to create some value for himself and just tip his toe in the water. Hey, I'm going to go. If you want, well, I'll just go. I'm just going to, you're like, no, don't do it. No, I'm just going to, he just touched his toe in the portal to get a meeting. And I hope he didn't have to do that. Now that's coaches. If he had to kind of fake going in the portal just to get the coaches to give him a minute. I know, and I'm being a butthole, and I'm old school, and I'm saying, well, what are you supposed to do? Just stop. We're trying to get ready for a freaking ball game, and you want to talk about money. That's why this is a terrible idea. The portal don't need to be open right now. The NCAA has screwed all this up, man. It's like they did it on purpose. When that old case started back in 2000, when the guy sued the NCAA about his image or his name, being on these jerseys and couldn't make, money because they're making, $1 million on his name. Yeah, just shared some of it. But there's more cases coming out. So if it was just Macumba was wanting to play a different position, because this wolf position at Alabama, you'll hear that word probably 100 times if you watch other Alabama podcasts or if you watch some other sports shows. There's some moving around there because Malachi is going to be gone. He's graduating. So the future for Alabama defensively next year, well, a lot of young guys got to play this year. Zay Mincy, Red Morgan, Macumba, Sab's good. I think they'll be okay. But who, as a fan, has been happy with their defensive front? Now, Tim Keenan and them has played good, man. I thought they had a good year. Jaheim Otis was in there fooling around, playing good. He got hurt, and you got a rotation. And the guy in front of him just was doing a good job. So you kind of don't want to take it away from the guy that's doing good and then plug the old guy back in. I don't know how you handle that. That's tough. I'd hate to do that. But we ain't had a really elite defensive line in a while. Bama's not. Just think about it. Just think, since 2020, when have they really just been some dogs out there? When they've just been some Jonathan Allens just jumping the freaking center and just grabbing the quarterback by the throat. And I know there's not a lot of those guys around. That's a bad excuse. That's a bad example, because those kind of guys like him they don't exist everywhere. But the coach, and Nick wouldn't fire him because he's Alabama, the coach. I'm going to tell you who. And this is he's such a great guy, man. I've met him one time down there at campus, and he's Alabama. I mean, I know blood's really crimson factually, but he really bleeds crimson, and he really cares. But sometimes you just, I don't know. He just, maybe he's run out of go-go juice. Maybe he's sick of a lot of this crap. Maybe he's bothered by some of this crap. But there's news that maybe that Freddie Roach may be, they're probably maybe looking at getting somebody else. I don't know that. He's a great guy. And it's like, you have a good employee and he just ain't, his sales numbers just not really good anymore. But man, he comes to work every freaking day. He don't complain. You're like, darn man, what? I don't know if I have to fire him. But the boss up top's breathing down my neck about sales. He's got to have don't just fire him. You got to go sit down with him, and you need to go sit down and talk to him. Freddie, I'm not from here. You are. And he's a good recruiter. I think Freddie, every time you look on the recruiting on 24/7 something, Freddie Roach's name's on there. A lot of times it is. Coach Singleton, his name's in there a lot too. But we just ain't, Bama just ain't what it has been up on front. Tennessee, good defensive front. Auburn had a good defensive front. Those front 3 or 4, they played pretty good. McLeod and them, and the junior and the guy that come from Duke and all, they wasn't bad up front. No, they were a top 20 defense, top 20, 15 or 20. LSU, they're edge guys, man. They let stuff go. They'd get sucked in the middle. They couldn't cover some edges sometimes. Texas, their front 4, they're good, man. Ole Miss, Lane had a good group up front. He had a really good group up front. Bama has not. I don't think they ever busted the top 25 all year in defense. I may be wrong, but I keep an eye on that stuff. I kept seeing them float around 33 or 30. Now, some other categories like pass breakups, they had a good bit. Team overall interceptions, they had some good stats for, that kind of stuff. But just defensively up front, man, you need some freaking dudes, linebackers to come here just going to eat faces. Now, they got a guy coming. They do have one coming. Kid coming from California. He's 6'2", 220 or so. He looks good. I watched a little huddle film on him. But Coach Roach, man, you got to tighten it up, man. It's just got to be better. Yeah, we'll have to see next season, I guess, Clint. You're right. Clint goes on here to say that he works with Ratledge's mom. She said that the year before NIL that every player got $3,000 a month, every player. And, of course, food, clothing, et cetera, and all. The NCAA allowed $3,000 a month for each player. That's a lot of money for a college kid. It is. But it's getting to the point that I can't stand it all. Me too. It is frustrating because, like you said, they are all hired mercenaries now, and those are only as good as long as the money is coming in. Brother Clint, speaking that truth. We're old, Clint. I get on here sometimes, and I got on a little tangent sometimes, and I feel like the old man standing out on the porch, pointing at the clouds. I do. And I don't mean to. I think, honestly, I tell you what it is, and this is maybe a bad example, and I'm good at giving bad examples. Like, say when you was dating and you break up with a girl and you move on, you date another girl or two, and you kind of look back and you go, you know what, that girl, we had a lot of fun together, had a lot of good times. You don't really miss her. And I know if you try to explain that to a girl, they may not understand. You're not missing her. You're missing that time in your life, that period that things seemed easy. There's, like no bills and just kind of free running, or, you had a different scenario of whatever life was. That's my comparison to football. The players come and go, streets might change. Maybe the names do, but the streets don't change. That's what Axl Rose said in Patience. You're welcome for the reference. How football was just played because they really love the game. And we love to cheer for our favorite players, like more closer eras. I'm a McCarron fan. I liked AJ. I liked how he played. He had a little bit of a smart ass to him, but he just really cared. And like he's over there balling after the LSU game, and man, you're just like he really loves the school, and he was so emotionally tied up in what he did there. I like him. I always thought Ingram was a great guy. Now, back as a kid, I was a big Walter Payton fan. Loved Walter Payton and Bo Jackson, Joe Montana, Ronnie Lott, the typical players of the time. So it's frustrating because you seem like the things that we love about the game, we think that these kids don't. The pageantry of going to homecoming and hearing the band play, there's just different things about college that pro football can't give you, and those are the things. And we're seeing it go away and move more to a pro model. But contracts are coming. It's coming. As soon as those kids this year, said they're going redshirt, and they can't even redshirt. The coach has to redshirt you. Freaking stupid kids. Young men start just, I keep saying kids are not kids. High school players are kids. That right there, their contracts are coming. It may come next year. So I do understand, and I do sympathize with your comments. It is frustrating because they're all like they're hired mercenaries now, and these are only as good as long as the money is coming in. So are you really building a foundation for a football team? What are we doing? So if it's just all going to be the same, and it's hard to pull for a guy. Like maybe, say there's some young guys out there, young kids in high school that probably big Mbakwe fans at Clay Chalville, where he played at. And they're Alabama fans. They're like, man, I can't wait to go see him play. I want to go to practice and see him. I love seeing Jalen. Maybe you went to school down there in that area and stuff, and you're just a big fan. Or maybe you're from freaking Pennsylvania, and he just enjoys his game. And then he leaves. You're like, what? I can't. Like seeing Joe Montana at Kansas City. Y'all remember this when he went to the Chiefs before he retired? It was just hard to. Still a Joe fan, but I still wanted the 49ers to win. I know Steve Young come, and Steve's great, and he's a Hall of Fame. There's no doubt Purdue, freaking Steve Young's awesome. I just couldn't get into the Chiefs like I did the 49ers, even when Joe had on the uniform. So I'm there with you. But this situation with Mbakwe, all I'm going to say is tip of the cap, young man, because if all that was yesterday was just to get some eyes and to bring some attention, I don't even know. We don't know if he even had a meeting with the coaches. We don't even know if there was really an offer. It could all be smoke. Well, supposedly reporting here live and breaking in here the news. This is Dan Summerton. Ole Miss has apparently offered Jalen Mbakwe $1 million to come play both ways at Ole Miss, receiver and play D-back. We don't know if that's true. We ain't got a clue. We don't know. That's not true. How do we know? You think Lane Kiffin's going to tell you? He's the ultimate clown guy on Twitter. He's hilarious. He cracks me up all the time. So if that was just a ruse or whatever, bro, great job. You got everybody. I love it. I think it's great. And that's just where we are now. And they're creating value for themselves, and he was never going to leave, and he was always going to stay, and he never had any intentions of leaving. And if you look at the thumbnail, lights, camera, bingo, I got action. Just type that in. It'll bring up the scene. And you can watch Day Day come out of his little booth with Ice Cube and go to the corner and run those little church ladies off. It's getting attention. That's what they did. Or was it really he's really concerned about his play time and he really wasn't looking for a bag? He just Maybe he just wanted to, really talk with the coaches. But when you talk to them first and they're like, no, we're going to do this. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to leave. I don't see you like, we're going to do this. And then I'm going to leave. And the coach go, oh, wait a minute. We changed our mind. We're going to do something different. And that may happen too. And we'll probably never know. But their podcast is going to have 500,000 new subscribers. You know what that means? Money. Views makes money. Subscribers help some too. So before y'all hit the button there, see that little blue thumb, hit that thing about 3 or 4 times. Hit the hearts on there. I don't care. Hit the laughy faces or oh my gods or I made you mad. Hit that too. But we love you and appreciate you. Thanks for coming by and hanging out with me today on this Tuesday. And I said Tuesday yesterday. I'm used to going on Tuesdays, but yesterday was so much crap going on. I had to go on. We had to talk about some of that. And we had to clear the deck off here and make a new slate. Bama fans, don't go jumping off a cliff somewhere. Guys, they're going to play in a bowl game. They got a number 2 class. Things are going to be a little fishy and the water's going to be a little murky. So just keep pushing the water back a little bit and it'll clear up. Be a fan and get out of this Saban, this Holic stuff. You're not going to win a title every year. You're not going to play for one every year. That's just done. That's over. Nobody's going to do that anymore. Nobody. Nope, not Kirby. It's not. And I got them picked to win it this year. But next year, let's see what happens. Oregon Ducks, they got all their ducks lined up. The undefeated team coming in here. How are they going to be next year? Can you sustain? That's what building a dynasty is. And the standard that I meant, and I talked about the first show, I'll just die on that hill. And everybody don't have to agree with me. I don't think Bama's the standard really they got to be at some point because Saban's not there. He was the standard. But it's not like they hadn't won before him. They've won in generations before him. They were winning bowl games before Saban was born. So there is something to it. There is a known place in college football for Alabama. And it used to be Nebraska. And at some time ago, it was Notre Dame. And way back a long time ago, you know who it was? Minnesota. Go back and look at their record. Bro, they used to kill people. But just be fans and not fanatics. Just enjoy your team. Watch the ball games. Pop some popcorn. And what it really should be about is spending time with your family. Bring your son in there in the room. Watch a little football with him, Eat some pretzels. Tell him some old football stories or something and laugh and have a good time. That's what it's really about. Enjoying that part of it. Boy, running around so fast, trying to do all this different stuff and trying to get on here and do all that and worried about these kids coming or going, this portal stuff. Just it's going to work out because all this stuff's going to calm down because next year they're going to change the portal. In April, they're having this big meeting. For real. Next summer, big meeting, 25. They won't be no portal this time next year. Watch and see. They won't be. You'll be able to transfer when you get done with spring. You go through spring ball, and you can either go or come. Is this what you want to do? Are you here or you're not? Not? Okay, you got a month. Go. You can go somewhere and find something else. I think that they should. If you play in a bowl game, if you win 6 games or more and you're in a bowl game, no, none. But here's what I don't like. If they're going to just cut it all off, leave the portal open for a team like Auburn. They're not going to a bowl game. Teams like Mississippi State, they need help. They're trying to build a program to get back to where they could win enough games to go to a bowl. So leave the portal open for teams that do not go to a bowl. You don't go to a bowl game, bam, when your season's over, 1st of December, portal's open for you. But these other kids, well, I guess you could do that, though. Because then you have to get the kids from teams that are playing in bowl games because you'd want some of them. Well, maybe you can't do that. Well, you could still open it for them. They could still because they're not getting any kids from teams that are in bowl games anyway. Let's see. Well, I don't know. I can't think of one right off. But you know what I'm saying. There could be a way we could do this. So y'all have a good week, and I'll probably see tomorrow night maybe. I think there'll be a video. I think it's already out on YouTube. Go over and watch it. It's called Value. And I'll just kind of go through about what makes value of it. You know, what's the value of players anymore? Where does it come from? Go over and check it out. Give it a thumbs up and a like. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a great evening. God bless you. We love you. We'll see you next time.